Never really been one to pick favorites. I mean, especially when it comes to media, I feel like people often get caught up in comparing things, deciding which one's the best song, the best album, the best movie ever. And sometimes I think it just gets a little bit silly. Like, why can't we just enjoy all of them? Why do we have to pick which one is better? Can't we just like them all? I mean, especially when it comes to very different genres of like comparing the SpongeBob movie to Killers of the Flower Moon. How am I supposed to rate those on the same scale? Why can't I just say I liked them both? I did like them both. And what if I enjoyed SpongeBob movie more, even if that's not technically the better cinematic film? Why can't we just say we enjoyed them all and leave it at that? Why has it got to be a competition sometimes? And that's not to say it's not worthwhile or fun to debate this stuff and compare them. There's some meaningful discussions that can come out of all of that. But generally speaking, I don't like to rate things or compare them to each other. I just like to say I enjoy them all. So then why am I standing here on the roof today talking about 3 of my favorite songs? I mean, I didn't really until recently consider these to be my favorite songs of all time, and I'm still unsure if I would definitively say that they are. But these are a few songs that have been stuck in my head, not just the song, the music in my head, but songs that I can't escape from. Songs that feel like they speak directly into my soul. And for over a year now with all of these, I keep coming back to them because for one reason or another, they speak to me more deeply than just about anything I've ever heard. And when it comes to these songs that do speak to me so deeply, I've always kind of found that a scary thing to share with people, to be honest. I mean, I've mentioned at times before on this channel that sharing music is not something I've typically done a lot of, and with these songs in particular, it feels like a very intimate process of sharing this stuff with people when it comes to something that feels like it's seeing the real you, because these songs are so interwoven into who I am in some weird way. I know that sounds over dramatic, but like for something that speaks so clearly to me, I know that not everyone's gonna get it. And sometimes it doesn't feel worth trying to share that with people. But I wanted to do it today because I've never been able to get these few songs out of my head. And I thought it would be nice to think about them and process them a little more along with you, and maybe by explaining how I hear these songs, it'll help somebody else connect with them too. I guess I should say that I'm not an expert on music theory or really a talented musician at all. So this is not going to be a very technical analysis of these songs. It's going to be purely based on the vibes and how these songs make me feel. So with that, I want to introduce you to the song Saturday by Real Estate. This song opens with this long, slow, instrumental intro that's very emotional and melancholic sounding. And that's why it kind of catches me by surprise about a minute into the song each time, when it transitions into this upbeat yet very chill and peaceful song. That transition from such a drawn out and somewhat somber feeling introduction into what is such a relaxed and happy feeling song, it's the highlight for me every time. And then they hit you with the lyrics, "I was born on a Saturday, what about you? Even though I already know that you were too." And I think that's just such a weirdly beautiful lyric, because although it feels like this kind of mundane conversation, it seems to carry a lot more weight than the words themselves would lead on. It almost feels to me like somebody trying to talk to their crush without letting on that they already know a little something about them so that they can use it to start the conversation. I think that's just this sort of sweet, funny way to open the song. But there's no anxiety associated with it like you might expect. It's just completely relaxed, like a casual conversation. And combined with that music and that transition that we've just heard, I don't know, nothing feels more laid back than that part of that song. And as the song goes on, it kind of talks about this idea of letting go. And I think that too is something that can be very difficult, very stressful, the idea of letting go of the past and embracing the present. But this song tackles it with such a positive and, again, relaxed perspective that it just makes everything feel like it's gonna be okay. And it's very visual in the lyrics that it chooses. I mean, the line "you're hanging on is fraying, you may as well loosen your grip." Like, it's almost a very literal way of describing the idea of letting go, but it's something that I can picture so clearly in my head. And I love that visual metaphor I can get of a literal line you're hanging on, that you may as well just let go and let yourself flow down the stream. You don't need to hold on so tight, man. Just relax, and the stream will take you where you need to go. And then they ultimately end up circling back to that question from the beginning about what does "when you were born" still say about you? And the answer is nothing. It doesn't matter when you were born. The past is over now, and that's not important. What's important right now is embracing what's right in front of you and being happy with the things you've got going in your life. And I appreciate that message, and it's something that makes me feel more relaxed and more willing to go with that flow. Doesn't matter when I was born, doesn't matter what's happened before. Just do what you can do right now, and you'll end up where you're supposed to be eventually. But if there's another song that maybe carries a slightly more somber tone throughout all of it, but still makes me feel very at peace with the world around me, that would be the song "Black Oak" by Slaughter Beach Dog.
Deep inside the country, he went out for some air amid an awful night of eating household objects on a dare.
Something I love about Slaughter Beach Dog is that all of their music so beautifully romanticizes just the small town American experience. This band to me has always managed to capture the mundane in a way that makes it feel like something truly special. And Black Oak is no different. But with this song, it's really not about the lyrics for me. It's about the sound. And I mean, of course, almost any good song, I think, starts with the sound, and then the lyrics can enhance that. But Black Oak's sound manages to evoke this feeling that I don't think I've quite felt in any other song before. It's the sound that feels to me inherently nostalgic, but it somehow makes me feel nostalgic for the present. I don't know how they managed to do it, but something about this song makes it the perfect thing for me to just put on late at night and make me feel at peace with exactly where I am in the world. Whether it's a boring or stressful day that I've had, this song sounds like I'm living in the good days. I mean, the song itself seems to be, if you look at the lyrics, about this drunken man who's had a long night and is thinking about his former lover, I believe. But that's really not what makes this song special to me. I mean, it does in some ways still manage to capture that sort of mundane, long night and make it feel like something really noteworthy and special. But I highly encourage you, if you listen to this song, don't pay attention to the lyrics on your first couple times. Just listen to that sound, let that guitar take you away. And I hope that someone out there can understand what I mean about this feeling of nostalgia for the present. Everything in this song just feels like it adds up to something that makes it feel like today is a special day. And don't take for granted any of those days, even if it's been a long, rough night. Because someday you might be looking back and feel nostalgic for this time too. This song allows me to tap into that nostalgia well before I should be allowed to. It allows me to feel nostalgic for me laying in bed and listening to this song at that moment. Or whatever's happened today, as good or as bad as it's been. I think that's the cool thing about this song for me. I don't need to give it time to feel nostalgic. I'm gonna feel nostalgic for right now, during right now. And that's pretty cool. And this last song, maybe I have some real nostalgia for, because I first heard it many years ago. And it's still one that's stuck with me ever since then. And I think in a way it taps into a similar feeling, where maybe it's not nostalgia for the present, but it's about the importance of this moment right here, with just me and you, and letting everything else fade away. And that song is A World Alone by Lorde. A World Alone is the final song off Lorde's debut album, Pure Heroin. And for what's typically a pretty edgy, rebellious teenager album, Lorde kind of puts away that edgier facade on this final song and makes a song that feels a lot softer than the rest of it. The album as a whole feels like it talks about those teenage themes of not fitting in, not being happy with the state of the world, and feeling pretty powerless to stop it. So saying, fuck the world, we're gonna do what we wanna do. But then we seemingly end on a note where Lorde has found something that makes life worthwhile. And you don't really need to look much further than the lyrics of the chorus to understand what I mean. I think this song so beautifully plays with the idea of all the noise that's constantly coming at us in our life, to the point of literally using background noise of people talking in a restaurant and allowing these background sounds to build up into this cacophony of distracting noises. And yet when that chorus hits, everything kind of melts away as Lorde finds something that puts her at peace. It is a love song, yes, but I feel like what I love about it so much is that it's so unapologetically lets that love and that relationship take precedence over everything else in life. It speaks to this idea that maybe the world still sucks. Maybe people are still bad and annoying and boring. But none of that matters right here and right now, as long as it's me and you. It's an absolutely beautiful song, whether you listen to it with the context of the album or not. But I think with that added context, it becomes even better, because this song, it's one of the best jobs of circling back to something that was brought up at the very beginning of the album that I've ever heard done before. And that's because the very beginning, the first line of this entire album is, "Don't you think that it's boring how people talk?" And all of that comes together from this very angsty, edgy, rebellious teenager album. It all kind of melts away when Lorde finds somebody that she cares about. And finally the album concludes with the line, "The people are talking, let them talk." The first time I realized that connection between the first song and the last song on the album I was a little bit blown away, but I think this conclusion to the album does such an effective job of not brushing off all the points that Lorde has made throughout the entire album. It's not suddenly flipping things on its head like, actually, everything's fine, guys. We're all happy and the world's great. No, it's a song that acknowledges everything that she's been to, yet still shows this growth throughout all of it, where she's been through these kind of harrowing experiences of not feeling happy with the world. And she's still not happy with the world. The world hasn't suddenly gotten better. These problems aren't fixed. People are still boring. There's still a lot of bad things going on. But none of that matters when I'm with you. It shows that Lorde has finally found something both within herself and within this other special person to her. And it allows her to accept this idea that things are so broken. The world's broken, I'm broken, you're broken. And this is not gonna last forever. But right now, it's just you and me dancing in a world alone. I don't know, I've always really connected with that idea. I feel like there's something important about being able to recognize all that. You don't have to always be happy. You don't have to feel like the world's a good place even. But there are connections that you can make that make life worth living. There are moments out there that are still worth living for. There's people out there that are still worth living for. And whether you actually have that person in your life right now or not, I think it's really nice to have this song that still allows me to tap into those emotions. That feeling that there's people and there's moments that are always going to be worth living for. This song helps me believe in that more than I normally do. More than other things tend to help me believe in that. It lets me feel that noise fade away. And that's all I really want in my life. The people that make the noise fade away. So why did I talk about all three of these songs together? What's that commonality that they all share? Well, as I was working on this video, I kind of started to think about these songs like the story of a relationship, where Saturday can be the very beginning, A World Alone is the middle, where everything's happy and perfect, and Black Oak is after the ending of the relationship. But if I'm being honest, I feel like that's a pretty big reach and not really the point. Really, I think the most important commonality is just the fact that these songs have all really spoken to me in some way. And I guess there still is a common feeling that I get from all three of these that helps me to feel a little bit more at peace with where I am. They help me to let go of the things that don't matter and embrace what's right in front of me. Whether that's taking a new step in your life or appreciating the beauty in the mundane, or finding that person that you love so much that nothing else has to matter anymore. Or in other words, I could say what these songs really share is I just like the song. I mean, really, if I wasn't being so sappy about it, these are just three all-time bangers for me that always, if I put them on late at night, I'm gonna feel a little bit more content with myself. Or something like that. Maybe this was just a self-indulgent way of processing all these songs and making them sound more profound than they need to sound. But I do believe they are profound. And whether you listen to these songs and just think they're good, or think they're the most special things in the world, like I kind of do, I just hope I was able to share some stuff that feels meaningful, because these songs meant something to me. And I hope they can mean something to you too. But maybe let me know those songs that made a weirdly profound impact to you in the comments. We can all be a little self-indulgent and act profound about our favorite songs here. That's the space I'm trying to create. These are the songs that feel like I'm showing a piece of my soul. So let me know the songs that feel like you're showing your soul in the comments below. I'm gonna put my soul away now, but I hope you like the Lorde part of my soul. Not the Lord, but you know what I'm saying. Just share some good music. Good night.